Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Smaug's Den. This is Smaug speaking. I thought this would be as good a time as any for an update video while I have the tank and side panels off for paint. Yes, the fender will also get painted, and I have another cowl, rear cowl, that will be painted. Lots been going on. Haven't really been able to make videos that I would like to. It's also a lot more difficult than really anticipated to really make something that's creative and that I also enjoy watching. Because what's the point otherwise? So I got to give credit out to the YouTubers that do this on a daily basis and or even with a daily job, right? Like, being a YouTuber is hard. A lot harder than you would actually anticipate. But, anyway, enough of my woes. I have going on here. I did mention that I upgraded the ignition, the CDI boxes. The only issue I have with them is that the cables are a little short, so they don't go through the original routing spots. Actually, I might be able to make that happen now with the new harness. That was the biggest thing. There was some damage right under here because of a hook that's probably still in here somewhere. Was touching an exposed wire. After having gone through a little bit more of the harness, I found some other bad spots and just ultimately decided to spend the money on someone else making me a wire harness, because I did not want to restring all of that. I could, but I really didn't want to do it. So that was an adventurous task. I did also get a relay from Murray Carbs for the dual overhead cam Hondas, so that I have direct power to the coils. Those are also from Rick's Motorsports. I haven't really had any issues since I swapped them out. I changed the spark plug boots and the spark plugs as well. I mean, obviously spark plugs, because that should be one of the first things you do on any used bike or car. But the spark plug boots are less of an obvious problem, right? They have a particular resistance they're supposed to be at. Ideally, you'll have, with these older bikes, plugs that don't have built-in resistors, but the ones that you can typically get your hands on do have resistors in them. There's a modification you can do on those on the plug boots to remove the resistor. It's basically cutting down a screw. I haven't done that yet. I might consider doing it, but I haven't had any issues with having added the relay mod. Murray Carbs, the issue with those at the moment is I have a rip here. I don't know if it's from over tightening or the fact that I don't have a garage, but I was able to locate replacements. Once I get those replacements installed, I'm not going to worry about installing them until the paint's done. At least on the shiny bits I like to look at. Eventually the frame will be painted, but yeah, we got to replace those. Those could be part of my runnability issues. Next thing we'll have to look at, simply because I haven't heard any noises and it's pretty much running okay, with the exception of a third gear sputter, which makes no sense, and why I'm not blaming valves, but I do got to check valve clearance at some point, which will necessitate ordering of new shims. I already have the tool, just don't have the patience at the moment. I do also have the gasket and the gasket sealer they recommend for it. I've also noticed some rust buildup on the second cylinder header. So we're probably going to eventually have to pull the exhaust off and do some restoration there. Haven't decided if I want to do a wrap on the headers or maybe just do some ceramic paint. This cover here has two different gaskets. One for the main cover gasket there. I do that like you can still hear me with the mic that far away. But yeah, this would be the main gasket, and then there is a secondary gasket for this cover. The screws are kind of stripped out. I gotta be very careful about how I go about removing those so I don't damage anything further. But this gasket's leaking. Not this one. I'm gonna replace this one anyway, but that definitely needs to be replaced. I do not have that one on order yet. Should probably make a point to go down to Dryer Honda and see if I can get it from there. Also need to get some oil for an oil change. And I might go ahead and just replace this gasket again. Because I know it's torn. And I do sometimes see it weep down here once in a while. But it's not an immediate issue. But I want to check the clutch plates. Because I had replaced the clutch springs with heavier ones. And it's just, I'm not getting the free play I want out of it. Like, yeah, that's the book calls for about 5 to 10 millimeters of cable free play, and if there's any free play in here, it doesn't want to completely disengage when you go to shift. So I'm thinking about putting in 3 of the standard ones, the OEM springs, and playing with the feel from there. Maybe some readjustment on the actual pin is needed too. The other big update is we'll just walk over here and we're going to notice that nice old little Blue. So she's gone. I went to a kid that knows how to, or allegedly knows how to weld. Sorry, that was just so I didn't show my plate. So he's trying to teach his cousin evidently how to work on engines, and he was interested in motorcycles. So as long as it gets back on the road. That was the first bike of mine that I had after like getting down and serious on riding again. I hadn't ridden for 10 years prior to that point, and that bike kind of held a special spot. Named it after somebody that is no longer with us, and I'm not gonna dive too deep into that story. It's a little emotional. But she was a good friend and helped me get over my fear of motorcycles. And look at me today. I'm riding something I never would have thought to be capable of riding. It was almost like she knew she was going to go too, because when I let her know I was taking the safety course back in Vegas, she had made me promise that I wouldn't let small incidentals like friends dying or small accidents get in the way of doing something I really want to. So if I want to ride, basically. And then the week the MSF I actually passed it, he was told at work that she had passed. So it was very, very unfortunate. But aside from the sad stuff on that, I think we are honoring her memory very well and continuing this hobby with fixing or I don't know, it's not fixing, restoring, reviving, rejuvenating, no, refurbishing vintage motorcycles. So, I don't want to drag this out too long. I hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July. And, yeah.